bourses within that region performed. We had the Japanese markets come back to trading after being on holiday for a couple of days as a result of a public holiday. But the Nikkei performed particularly well, up 1.8%. When we look at what was happening on the Hong Kong side of things, the Hang Seng was moving between gains and losses at this point, managing to close up at least 0.6% in positive territory. When we shift focus to look at what was happening on the mainland Chinese markets as well, again, they also returned to market after that particular holiday. Looking at the Shanghai Composite, that down 0.1%, but the Shenzhen Composite as well, following suit in negative territory, down 1.5%. Over in Europe, markets looked a little bit choppy when it comes to trading on that particular front. Investors keeping an eye on a slew of corporate data that continues to come through, as well as the announcement that we are expecting from the Bank of England, that relating to monetary policy. And when you look at the US stock futures right now, looking a bit flat, possibly an indicator as to what we can expect on the US trading side when markets open. But from the Johannesburg Stock Exchange, when it comes to the local side of things, we saw some corporate news come through. Quarterly numbers coming in from SABC, performance trading reviews coming through from, the likes of Goldfields and Sibanye. And we also had numbers come through from AB InBev, of course, announcing a CEO succession. But to get into the details of what actually is happening in the markets, we are joined by Nesan Nair, who is from Sasfin. Nesan, thank you so much for your time.
Yeah, good afternoon to you and to the viewers, Natasha.
So what do you make of the JSE's performance right now, and any company news that caught your attention?
Yeah, a very impressive day today. Even yesterday, I think we had that news out of MTN that shot that share price up over 10% on the day. It seems like that momentum has continued into today, although it's, as you mentioned, it's the financial shares that are shining quite brightly today. And I say this because the week started off quite negatively. If you remember, Monday and Tuesday we were down. People were concerned that May is normally a correction month for markets. We could be seeing that again. A lot of nervousness over the U.S. Jobs numbers that are going to come out, but the manufacturing numbers I think that came out earlier in the week was slightly better, and I think that set the tone, for yesterday and of course today's movements as well. Great numbers out of AB InBev. The share is 5% up, double-digit increase in revenue there. Also thought good numbers out of Sibanye, although the market didn't like it that much. Mondi is going through a reasonably tough time at the moment. Market didn't like their numbers, although I didn't think they were that bad. But it seems to be a bit of a mixed bag in terms of corporate results at the moment. It's no clear direction. I think the market favorites are tending to outperform a little bit, while there are some laggards, which one needs to be careful of if you're a long-term investor.
Following what you've just said about MTN, did you get a chance to have a look yesterday as to how that is performing against its other telecom players like, Vodacom and the likes of Blue Label?
Yeah, I think, the Vodacom's obviously been the very stable player. Telkom's been a little bit of a wild card, and Blue Label's obviously still got the hangover with Cell C and the debt. But MTN's been the one a lot of people have been watching, largely because of Nigeria business, which was seriously impacted last year with the dramatic fall that we saw in the oil price. That seems to have recovered quite well. The MTN Nigeria results came up on Monday. People were concerned because they lost 5 million subscribers. But then, yesterday we had the numbers that come out from MTN Group. The South African business actually, in a long time, seemed to have, been the one to pull the group through at quite a good performance, I thought, at group level. So I think generally the market is viewing MTN as a big recovery story. This was a 260 Rand stock not so long ago. It's still trading below 100 Rand. So, I think there's still a fair amount of momentum behind the share at the moment.
Let's move things stateside. I mean, we are expecting those U.S. jobs report numbers. If they come out stronger than expected, do you believe that at some point it might force the Fed to announce some sort of tapering later this year?
I think the Fed is just, using the tapering as a sentiment controlling initiative. I don't think that we're anywhere close to tapering just yet. The reason I say that is because U.S. inflation is very low. It's projected to remain below where I think would be reasonably considered healthy in the short term. I know it is creeping up, but there's still the hangover from the pandemic, I think, is still hurting the U.S. economy, especially in terms of jobs. We're not seeing the jobs coming in as fast as we should perhaps be seeing. The market is pricing in a fair amount of stimulus, and I think the current administration is going to continue that. So I can't see tapering taking place in view of these large sort of macro and monetary events at the moment. So I think whereas the Fed is trying to control our expectations, I do think it's going to be quite some time before we actually see that.
All right, Nesan, let's leave it there. Thank you so much for your time this afternoon. As he mentioned, we are looking forward to those U.S. jobs numbers. Of course, the dollar right now looking a little bit weaker, but we'll get a great sense of that a little bit later on, and perhaps even so later on during the week. That's it from me. We're going to come back to have a look at what's happening on the alternative investor side. But for now, let's take a quick break.